The other thing that has just happened while we were in the commercial break, and we now have confirmation, we have breaking news right now, that multiple Secret Service agents have been put on leave during the investigation into the Trump assassination. I'm getting more details, and I will provide them. But let's see. 1 Trump personnel protective team, 4 from Pittsburgh, including the special agent in charge. The numbers might go up. We don't have a specific number, but it's at least 5 total. So that's the information I have now. At least 5, including the Trump personnel protective team, 1 from there, and 4 from Pittsburgh, including the special agent in charge. We might have a little bit more detail coming in. Let me get your thoughts now about this. Josh, is this standard operating procedure, or do you think they have found something that gives them cause to put them on leave?
Well, I think they have found something that to cause them to put them on leave. Clearly, this was a mistake made by the Secret Service. You cannot let somebody try to assassinate the president and get as close as they did. So this is the Secret Service process going through their investigation and determining, or at least they have indications, that people did not do their job. And clearly the special agent in charge of Pittsburgh, who was responsible for this, is ultimately responsible for the security at that event.
Do you know if when they're put on leave, is that with pay?
If they're put on leave, it is with pay. That I'm assuming that we will find other indications later today as this reporting comes out as whether or not they were suspended with or without pay. But generally, when they say they've been put on leave, it's leave with pay. Now, whether or not this goes into another round of internal investigations and is determined, then they would be fired.
Let me bring in Bill Hemmer to join me on this.
Just reading a statement from the Chief of Communications from the Secret Service here. It's long, so just be patient with me. Secret Service is committed to investigating the decisions and actions of personnel related to the event in Butler. Secret Service mission assurance review is progressing, and we are examining the processes, procedures, and factors that led to this operational failure. Secret Service holds our personnel the highest professional standards, and any identified and substantiated violations will be investigated for potential disciplinary action. Given the fact that this is a personnel matter, we are not in a position to comment further. But, well, I tell you, we've been in Chicago for a week, and we were in Milwaukee about a month ago. And listen, we're with the Secret Service every day. Mm-hmm. We see them in action. We see them do their job, and
very well. And the men and women, the rank and file, have been amazing, even here in Chicago.
And it's quite commendable. And we're not here to put them all in the same pot, but you just wonder. This was alluded to, and there's nothing to prove this right now, Josh. But when the president was on the border yesterday, and our Alicia Acuna was interviewing him, and the reporters broke the news to him that they were looking for this guy in Arizona, and apparently he said it's the first time hearing of it. And then she said, "How do you feel about that?" He said, "I feel like I want to go get this interview done right now because I don't want to be standing out here." It's got to have a lasting effect on any human being who's been exposed to what he was in Butler, Pennsylvania that day. The sights, the sounds, the images that run through your mind, Josh.
Well, of course, it was horrific action that was taken, and near-death experience is going to have an impact on anybody, and especially the former president, who has a persistent threats, as does the current vice president, where there's a wealth of threats coming in, and the Secret Service and their law enforcement counterparts, as well as state, local, FBI, and other federal agencies, trying to ferret those out to determine what is real and what is not. The internet, the social media, large volume of threats, and of course the president is aware that the former president is aware that there's a lot of threats, to include from nation states such as Iran.
Yeah. Josh, Dana and I were on the air on the evening of July 13th in Milwaukee, and I'm going to bring in my partner back in on this, and I want you to go ahead and explain to the audience what you were explaining to me at the time, because the president came out with a statement in real time, and the first line was him thanking the Secret Service for the protection they give him. And you said to me, super smart.
Yeah.
And you reflected on something that President Bush did.
Yes, and I think that President Bush learned this one from when his father was in office, and also because he had a security detail in Texas when he was governor, and then, of course, the Secret Service. And then what Trump did on July 13th about the Secret Service is something also that Obama did during his time, which is this. You have to understand the relationship between the principal and the Secret Service agents. You have to have complete and total trust, 100% confidence that they've got you. And as what I've seen is that that's always been true. I've never seen daylight. But when there was a question, for example, it was, I believe, May of 2005, we were in Georgia, the country, and somebody, a terrorist, would-be assassin, rolled up a grenade and sent it towards the site where the president was speaking. Thankfully, it did not go off, mostly because, as I understand it, the T-shirt that he wrapped around it was so tight that it didn't go off. That's how lucky everybody got in that instance. And so President Bush told all of us that we're spokespeople, and he said it on the record himself, I have 100% confidence in the Secret Service. Absolutely no problems, absolutely no daylight. They're great. Because he wanted to make sure that they knew that he didn't question them. And then Obama did the same, and that was Trump's first instinct to say, no, these people that are protecting me, they're fine. Now, he knew that there was a problem, but it certainly wasn't the people that were right there in the vicinity.
And the insinuation you were making is that Trump knows he's coming to Milwaukee in 48 hours and knows that he needs to trust the people who are paid to take care of him.
And also, so for example, yesterday when he's in Arizona, he's very exposed. Everybody was exposed. And he even says that to the press. He says, all of you here are exposed. And I've never been shot at, thankfully. And I'm thankful that he recovered as quickly as he did. If you are, it might feel a little bit different if you're out in the open and you know that there are enemies, especially if you're on the border.
There was no mention of this over the past 4 days in Chicago.
I thought that was a miss. I thought that there was, at some point, they could say something about making sure that everyone is protected that is in this.
You know, Democrats like to talk about gun safety as in their words, gun safety, not gun violence.
Yeah, they had a very powerful event last night.
Right, and they sure did. I thought it was probably one of the best moments of the week for everyday Americans at the year at the DNC.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.